sections that we usually see in adjectives, right? So, in order to continue, let's talk about the difference between the function of the last syllable and the function of the first syllable. Okay, let's see the difference so we can establish very well what are we doing, what is the supposed thing in this case. Okay, who can tell me the difference between the first syllable and the final syllable? What, how do they change the word?
Teacher, what do you mean? Uh, Between over and ed?
What
Well,
is
over over is a prefix and ed is a suffix.
exactly? But what is that? I mean, what is a suffix? What is a prefix? What do they do? Why do you need to know that? What's the function of these syllables?
Um, you can use them when you want to change the sense of word, like for example, diagnose. Uh, uh, Maybe you want to talk with an adverb or 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 with over. You want to put an extra effect in a word.
Extra effect. That's interesting, but close. I don't know if it's close or not. So, okay, we are going to check prefixes in a moment because that part of the extra effect was really strange. But what about the suffix? What does the suffix do?
Change a word for, well, you change the meaning of the word.
That, okay, let's take these concepts very straight because that's precisely the most confusing part of it. The fact that you're changing the meaning, technically, it happens with both, you know? Because
Oh,
whenever you do a modification to the word, automatically the meaning is not the same. So that is very ambiguous. That is very global to say. I think the most important difference between these two is the suffix. The suffix doesn't change the meaning only. It changes the word, the family that the word belongs to. I repeat, it changes the family that the word belongs to.
okay.
What
Yes,
does it mean? Uh-huh.
a verb, a verb, uh, uh, suffix makes a verb uh, into an adverb, for example.
Exactly. Or an adjective in this case.
Yeah.
Diagnosed is an adjective,
Yes.
right? And then when you say overdiagnosed, this is not another sense, it's only a different meaning to the original adjective. The
Yeah.
original adjective was diagnosed, but when you add the prefix over, now the meaning is changed. In this case, we can say that it changes the meaning. So the prefix changes the meanings, the suffix changes the family of the word.
The family.
Exactly. That part was I wanted to check it with you. What about Isaac? Do you understand the difference between these two?
Yes, actually, I think that it's something simple with the explanation that you give us.
Great. If you understand that part, then we can continue because we are going to see precisely these two segments and how they relate between each other.
Yeah, sure.
Let's check, for example, take a screenshot to the following slide. So many adjectives are formed from a base of a different class. A different class with a suffix. For example, we have the word home, which is a noun, and then we say homeless, and now it means that the person doesn't have a home. Or us. For example, the word virtue. Virtue is the word that talks about our emotional states and things like that. Virtue. If you describe a person who has a lot of virtue, it's called virtuous.
A person who has what?
A lot of virtue.
Okay.
That's a virtuous person.
Virtuous.
Which technically is very similar to what we see in Spanish.
Yes, but I was thinking that I have heard the word, but I really don't understand the meaning of that.
Great.
Yeah, even in
It's a
Spanish.
virtuous. Even in Spanish, let's see the definition of virtuous.
Because I think that it's a common word in maybe in movies and when they are trying to describe like a person with a good person maybe
Ah,
Virtuous.
exactly. A good
yes.
person or that has a good moral. And precisely, look, behaving in a very good and moral way.
Okay.
Possesses the virtue of moral standards. I like that definition. But that doesn't stop us from thinking that the word virtue exists. A virtue is behavior or attitudes that show high moral standards. So there is a connection here.
Yes.
That's why it's so important to know uh, how words are modified, because if you remove one suffix, if you detect a suffix, you can remove it and you can make another word. And that is expansion of vocabulary. Look at how virtue is C1, while virtuous is C2. And then you are covering both areas of language, the description and the concept. You have two different words.
Yes, that's interesting.
That's the way we can expand our vocabulary. In this particular level, vocabulary is the most important part. You see? So these are only examples, not less or us. Adjectives can also be formed from other adjectives, especially by the negative prefixes. We
Oh
have
yeah.
negative prefixes un, in, or
Unhappy.
non. Exactly, like unhappy. And these are
Yes.
the ones that we have here.
Maybe okay.
So all these things, all these characteristics are words that are very, very important, but it's a little bit tricky, or it becomes tricky when we are talking about how familiar we are with Spanish suffixes, because if we take if we take the suffixes, well, that's pretty easy. We have seen that in previous classes. We have seen some of the words, and probably we are very familiar to suffixes. But I want to focus on the negative section because they are very different from Spanish. If you take this list, let me take this list away. And let's talk about negative prefixes. Look how the word, if we contrast the Spanish versus English, we are going to obtain words like, for example, the opposite of the adjective feliz in Spanish.
Yes.
The negative is
Unhappy.
in
Infeliz.
Spanish, infeliz.
Yes.
And then what is the first syllable? The Look at how the word infeliz, right? It's very contrasting with the English version, because in English it's not in, it's on. So one of the most difficult parts of understanding suffixes and prefixes is understanding which ones are correct and which ones are not. Not because in Spanish is in English is going to be into. And that is a problem when you are talking about translations. Let me help you with a list. Let's say,
Happy.
exactly, brain happy. And I have seen many students saying that sometimes. Prefixes contrasted from Spanish and English. Let me find. I'm trying to find a list that we can use. Patterns of similarity and difference in Spanish and English. Probably this one can help us. Yes, I love this website. Look at this. ThoughtCo. It never fails to surprise me. Similarities in word endings. Word endings is similar to, say, suffixes. Nation, nación. Station, estación. Fraction, fracción. So that is the same. Fidelity, the adjective et transfers to fidelidad. So et and that are practically the same. Felicity, felicidad, faculty, facultad. Right? So similarities exist. Dentist, the ending ist transformed to ista. So artist, artista. Orthopedist, orthopedista. Right? There's no big difference between these two.
Like finalist.
Exactly. Finalist, final.
Finalist.
Finalist, finalista. Similar case. Very good. Here you have us, which is the one that we are talking about. In this case, adjectives. Famous, famoso. The ending oso. Nervous, nervioso. Fibrous, fibroso. Precious, precioso. Right? This is the one that is important for us. Let me connect my computer. Ready. Next. You get the idea, no? Democracy, democracia, redundancy, redundancia. Ism, which is ismo in Spanish. Chair, which is tura in Spanish. Which is S in English too. Symbiosis, symbiosis. Pelvis. Crisis, crisis.
Teacher,
It's exactly the same.
it's very similar.
It's very similar, right? This is, surprise, surprise, don't get tricked with the first impressions. Because we can say that everything is very similar, but then you see final advice. Where is it?
Oh, there's a
Let's
lot
see.
of words very different to Spanish.
Yeah. These ones are the similars, but we don't have the words that are like or similar in the two languages but have different meanings are not false friends. Names of occupations, where is it? I thought we have the negatives here. Despite the numerous similarities between English and Spanish, you are probably best off to avoid coining Spanish words. Not all the words work in the above way, and you may find yourself in an embarrassing situation. You're a bit safer following these patterns in reverse. However, because you'll know if the resulting English word doesn't make sense, and using these patterns as a reminder. As you learn Spanish, you'll also come across numerous other words patterns, some of them more subtle than those above. But I want to know the embarrassing situation, that's the important part. Let me find another one because it's not what I expected. So the first thing that I want you to see is how similar it is, right? The first impression that it gives us is that it is similar, that it is very, very easy, and it can become a little tricky when you are talking about exceptions. So let's talk about differences. Differences in Spanish and English spelling. Thoughtco is a very good website, but they have very short articles. Building your vocabulary prefixes. This is in Spanish only.
Ask ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Oh, that would be a good idea. Okay, that's a very good idea. Let me log in for a moment.
ChatGPT is an excellent tool.
I love it, man. I love it. I don't know what email I used for ChatGPT. But meanwhile, let's wait for the message from the code while we check. Most useful Spanish and English suffixes. Now, the issue with this is that the observations that I consider are important, not a lot of people use it. You know.
But you can educate it.
Exactly. Exactly. That's precisely the thing about this.
Um,
If you
yes,
know
I
something
use
that
ChatGPT for a lot of and a lot of homework.
Yeah, and teachers don't dislike that.
No, homework. Uh, if I want to say tareas, but not in a scholarship sense, how can I say it?
In a school way or is a school
No, I mean, I want to say tarea, but not in an scholarship sense.
tasks.
Ah, yeah, task. I don't. Oh no, very easy. No,
Yes, it was super easy.
yes, I use ChatGPT for a lot of
Do
tasks.
you use it in Spanish or in English?
Uh, in Spanish
In
is
Spanish?
is the most common way. Yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah, because it has two languages.
but the it interprets both both languages.
Interprets.
Interprets both languages well.
Yes, I have seen that. I have seen that you can speak to ChatGPT in Spanish and it will answer to you in Spanish.
And
No
and
issue.
and it look for information in websites in English and in another languages.
Exactly. Which is amazing. That's why Elon
Even
Musk
if
wants to stop
you
it.
ask in Spanish, for example.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's just an amazing tool. I just love it. I am trying to ask like the perfect question or the name of this is not entry. I forgot the word. Word. I don't remember the name, but I would say, can you gather a list of English adjectives whose prefixes can you gather a list of English adjectives whose now using prefixes that don't match their Spanish equivalent? Let's see what it says with this. Certainly, here are some examples of English adjectives with prefixes that don't not have an exact Spanish equivalent. Unflappable. This means not easily upset or perturbed. The prefix un in English means not, but there is no equivalent prefix in Spanish that carries the same meaning. So, okay, the first one that he
For
provides us
example,
is
actually,
unflappable.
too.
Actually, what do you mean actually?
Actually, uh, in Spanish,
Oh, yes.
we can use actually like actualmente, but actually means uh, actually have a very different meaning.
Okay, but we are not talking about that. You are talking about false friends or false cognates. A false cognate is a word that looks similar to Spanish, but it's not. I'm not talking
Okay.
about that. I'm talking about a prefix that has no existence or is different in Spanish. Like, for example, infeliz versus unhappy.
Okay.
As you say, unhappy doesn't exist, no?
Yeah.
So, precisely what I'm trying to find is all these words that can avoid making us do mistakes.
Okay.
You know? Like, look at this. Number 3, impeccable. This means flawless or faultless. The prefix im in Spanish means not, but in Spanish the prefix im typically means in or into. That's a very interesting one. Number 3, I like it. You see? Let's talk about that one.
Oh yes.
If you say im or in, we're going to get something in Spanish
Yeah.
that's very interesting, eh? Incomunicar. I mean, in is negative too, but I was thinking about which one did it say? In with M. So in this case, it's negative, 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 or E. Exceptions. Here it is.
Iman.
Iman.
But I think that those are not like suffix prefixes.
Exactly. No,
Yes.
this doesn't match. No, this is not the one I'm talking about. These are all negatives. All negatives. But no, 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 no. The one that ChatGPT is saying is that means inside or into. Imperfection, imperfection. Yeah, that can be an interesting one. Eh? In Spanish, is for example, in imperfection, because of the Spanish logic. I don't know if you remember that, but in school they taught me that when you have an M, you always need a P, and vice versa. If you have a P, you need an M. Do you remember that in Spanish? Well, they told me like that because many students, many high schoolers would say imperfection with N, right? But in English, if it's imperfection, yes, it's with M in Spanish. But in
In
English, you
Spanish?
cannot say imperfection. Exactly.
Okay.
It's imperfection.
Um,
Here it is. This is a very clear example. This is the one I'm talking about. Oh God, thank God for that artificial intelligence, for real. I have always wanted to do this lesson, but I always get out of ideas when I'm talking or trying to investigate this.
It's a beautiful tool.
I know, man. It's just amazing. And the
In,
thing
in
is
my
here, yeah, what?
yeah, in my career, we use it a lot because we need to code uh, sometimes, and it's like ChatGPT give me a code to do this type of analysis, and it give us
Gives us.
it gives us it gives us, and it's very useful, and yes, it helps a lot.
Yes, it's amazing. It's just amazing, and this precisely is the one that we were looking at. What is interesting about the flaws and contrasting Spanish versus English in this case is that it avoids mistakes. That's the most important part that I want you to take with you today's class. When you are learning a new language, these small details are very important not only for speaking. This is more about, let's say, presenting a document or making a TOEFL exam. These small details collocating an M versus an N, collocating an I versus an U, changes the evaluation at all. Some of them are more obvious, no? Like in happy, that's very, very obvious. But some of them are not very obvious. Like imperfection versus imperfection, or impeccable versus impecable in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
That's very, very tricky. So we have to be very careful with these details, you know? So there is a lot of words that can be very, very tricky, that can be very, very helpful if we contrast it with our Spanish. Let's see another one. Unfathomable. This means impossible to understand or comprehend. The prefix un in English means not, but there is not exact equivalent to Spanish. Un doesn't exist in Spanish. Indefatigable. This means persisting tirelessly. The prefix in English means not, but in Spanish is means into or into. In a moment, I'm gonna ask why it's insisting on in and into. Irrefutable. This means impossible to deny or refute. The prefix ir in English means not, but in Spanish the prefix ir typically means to go. I don't think so, eh? ChatGPT is incorrect in this one.
Yes?
Yeah, because ChatGPT is confusing the verb with the prefix. It's not the same.
Oh.
Verb ir means go. That's why I don't know why it insists in this one. That's wrong. Inconceivable. This means impossible to imagine or understand. The prefix in English means not, but in Spanish the prefix in means in and into. It's the same. It's repeating the same. Note that while some of these prefixes may have cognates in
Yeah,
Spanish.
ChatGPT sucks.
Their meanings can differ from their English counterparts as demonstrated above. Okay. Find simple adjective. No, simple. Find prefix adjectives. No. With prefixes that English as a second language students may have mistakes with. Find Spanish adjectives with prefixes that which. Here are some examples of Spanish adjectives with prefixes that English as second language students may have trouble with. Desafortunado. Oh, this is the one I'm talking about. Yes. Desafortunado, look how it has the word this, right?
Yes.
But in English, it's not disfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. This is the one I'm talking about. Perfect. Thank you, ChatGPT. I love you. Desafortunado versus unfortunate. The prefix des in Spanish means on, or not. Unlucky. How do you say unlucky in Spanish?
No suertudo.
It's the same, no?
Desafortunado.
Yes.
Yes. Unfortunate or unlucky. Exactly.
No
No
suertudo.
suertudo. No suertudo. Yes.
I need an English class too.
Yes. We are in English mode. Like, forget about it, okay? Nobody noticed that. Imprescindible. This means essential or indispensable. Oh my God! It means essential is usually formed without a prefix. Imprescindible means essential or indispensable, which indispensable exists in Spanish, right? So
Yes.
that one can actually not help, but very important to establish that an equivalent to imprescindible doesn't exist
In English,
in English, of course. So we can
essential.
say essential, yeah, I mean,
Oh
which
yeah,
is a synonym, no? It sounds
yeah,
like a synonym, but not like a direct translation or cognate. Like, important and importante, no? That are equivalent.
yeah.
But in this case, imprescindible doesn't exist. It's like imprescindible, that doesn't exist.
Imprescindible.
Aha,
Sounds good.
super important. Insupportable. Yeah, no, insoportable. That's Spanish. Insoportable. This means unbearable. Yes, my my English reading. Insoportable. This means unbearable or intolerable.
Yeah, there's not uh, a
An
direct
English
translation.
equivalent.
Equivalent. Yeah.
Thank you for telling me to use ChatGPT. I really needed this list. Really. Irreversible. Irreversible. No, in this case it exists. That one is not necessary. Desordenado. Ooh, that's an issue. Disorderly. Haha. Do you
You
remember?
can tell it or tell him or
Tell it.
tell it it's a mistake and
And it can take the feedback.
yeah
That's important.
and it says sorry.
Yeah, that's actually useful. Probably I'm gonna use
Sorry
it
for
later.
my mistake.
Yeah, I'm still learning. No.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm human. No.
to all humans have mistakes, right? Yeah, but you are not a human, bro. Inexperto. This means inexperienced or unskilled. Look at this, unskilled. So in many cases is similar in English as in, but then in others it transforms into on.
On
That's the one I really want you to pay attention to.
unskilled.
In transforms into on in many occasions. Desilusionado, this means disillusioned or disappointed. This is the same. Irresistible, this means irresistible or impossible to resist, no problem. Incompatible, this means incompatible or unable to exist. That's the same. Desesperados means desperate or hopeless. This one over here is very interesting because many students pronounce desesperated. And I have heard people in this class actually pronouncing desesperated because in our mother language is desperate.
Desperate.
Uh-huh. In our mother language is deses, so we have two, it has two syllables, but in English it's only one. Desperate, not desesperate. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, desperate.
That's the one. There you have it, guys. What do you think about this? Do you think what's useful information?
Yes, well, it was interesting to find these differences.
And look at how not a lot of websites get this information relevantly. They say, suffixes exist to expand your vocabulary. Yes, but what happened if I am using the wrong suffix? Or what happens if I am using the wrong word at all, or the word that I am trying to create doesn't exist? You know, this is the issue. So careful with wrong translations. You get it? I think we should add the suffix "sor," the prefix "sor," for adjectives. You know, because if we are talking about the opposite of real, is not irreal. Do you know what is the opposite of real?
Unreal. Unreal.
Unreal. Unreal.
Exactly. It can be unreal instead of irreal, which in
False.
Spanish is irreal, or surreal.
Surreal.
Serve
Yeah.
is a negative for adjectives.
Teacher, what's the surreal? What is surreal?
That will be surreal too. Now, it will depend if you are talking about the artistic movement of surrealism, then you will need to use surreal, right? But if you are talking about something that is strange, you can also use the adjective surreal in English.
Okay.
Not necessarily talking about art. You see?
So surreal.
That's right. Irreal in Spanish, unreal in English.
Unreal. Unreal.
That's another one that just came to my mind by checking this. That's the one. So when we are talking about prefixes and suffixes and all this stuff, it's very easy to say, nah, this is simple. All the words are the same, you know? Be careful. That will be the first impression, and the first impression is always tricky. These are the most important parts so that we can avoid making mistakes and can make you have a better result in your speech. Any question?
No.
Okay. Super cool. So now that Jimena and Jesse are here, we should take a screenshot. You already sent it to the group, right, Isaac? Yeah, I saw
Yes.
your message. Okay, perfect. Then let me just add the word sir, because that's another way of negative. Okay, there we go. So then let's go through our exercise, okay? We're gonna go to check. Oh no, wait. Now that we covered the negatives, let's cover the suffixes, okay? So we already have these ones. Let's go now to the list of suffixes. So in the suffix section, we have al, ent, I've, us, fall, less able, I, and ik. I want to check your pronunciation as well. So I want you, everybody, to pass and pronounce these words so we can pronounce it correctly. Okay, let's start with Jimena. Help us with the first list.
Okay, suffix added to verbs or nouns. For example, the suffix all in the words central, political, national, optional, and professional.
Good, good. For good pronunciation, no issues. Let's go with Jessie, help me with ent.
Pent, different, depend, excellent.
The second one. Repeat the second one.
Depend.
There is an extra syllable. Then.
Okay, dependent.
Much better. Dependent. Complete. Different.
Dependent. Oh, okay. Different, dependent, excellent.
Excellent. Much better. Good. Next, Isaac, help me with if.
What else? Different. Oh no. If attractive, effective, imaginative, repetitive.
No problem. Good. Rafa, help me with us.
Yes, is continuous, dangerous, and famous.
Good. Jimena, help me with full.
Beautiful, peaceful, and careful.
Nice. Jessie, help me with less.
It less and endless, homeless, careless, and I think is doubtless.
Okay. What is the past of think?
No, I am not sure the pronunciation.
Okay. You get scared when you say the th, right? Or you say the UGH, you enter into crisis. You know, don't worry, it's not so difficult. So think is pronounced with no?
Think.
It is the same sound that you should use when you speak in past. The same. So you say think in present, in past becomes
So,
excellent. Now the O is not pronounced like in Spanish. It's only a constant O.
so,
Thought.
so,
I hear you saying O. Thought.
so,
No, no deep tongue. Only one sound, one stable O. Tho.
so,
Tho. And closing in t. Thought.
so,
Thought.
so,
Thought. No, you are saying O, not O. Thought.
so,
Excellent. Again, thought.
so,
Very good. That's a pronunciation. Thought.
Thought.
You see how the person is not saying O?
okay,
Every time you see O-U-G-H, ignore it completely and say only the O. Thought, enough, lot, rough. There are a lot of words that have this pattern O-U-G-H that you don't need to pronounce like O.
okay,
So thought is the past of think.
yes,
A person that is full of thoughts, that has no thoughts, you say
thoughtless,
excellent. Very good pronunciation. If we pass it here, we take thought. Let's listen to this pronunciation.
Thoughtless.
You see?
yes,
Try to pronounce it. Thoughtless.
thoughtless,
Excellent.
Thoughtless.
Good job. The next one. Able. Rafa.
Yes, drinkable, countable, and avoidable.
Many people commit the mistake to say able. don't confuse the adjective able versus the suffix able. Able,
Yes, the
able.
beginning
Ah, exactly.
I was in point.
Mhm.
In
You are
point? No es a
thinking
point. In point no, ¿verdad?
in point.
A punto.
In point a punto. About to.
About to. Okay.
That was a very massive Spanglish situation.
Thank you.
Very good. Next, Hime, suffix e.
Shiny, imaginary, tidy, risky, unitary, and witty.
The double T is strong.
Whitey.
Okay, let's check that one. I really like that adjective. Transition.
Whitey.
Look at the symbol.
Witty.
Exactly, witty.
Witty.
A person that is
Witty.
witty is clever and humorous. A person that has very, very good.
It's almost British.
Again the what?
It's almost British.
Almost
Witty.
British? No. It's
Witty.
very American too.
Yes?
Looks British, but it's not. If you want to make a stand-up, you need to be very witty, very agile with your words.
Okay.
Witty. The other one, very important, Hime.
Unitary.
Exactly. In the first syllable is a strong syllable. Unitary.
Unitary.
Good.
Unitary.
Nice.
Unitary. Okay,
Unitary.
thank you.
Good girl. And the last one, Isaac, help me with ek.
Sure. Oh, come on. Cyrillic? Cyrillic? I don't know.
Excellent.
Cyrillic?
This
What
is
is
not
that?
Spanish. Cyrillic is the alphabet of Russian alphabet.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Athletic? Is it athletic?
That's right.
And academic.
And academic. Perfect. There it is. So that's the pronunciations, guys. Good. Whenever you are trying to memorize some of the words that come here, you should focus on the root. Expand your vocabulary by looking for the root word coming from these adjectives. What is the root word? If we go directly to the word that we were talking here, right? The root word would be diagnose. And diagnose was a
verb.
exactly. So we can say that the word that we are studying is an expansion of the word of the verb diagnose. And then the rest
Already diagnosed.
diagnosed. And then the rest of the modifications are over the verb.
Yes.
Right? Well, same case happens in this case. What would be the root word for the word? No, where is it? Here. For the word central. Who can tell me? The root word for the word central.
The group word is central. Central. Is it an adjective? Is it an adjective?
The root word.
Oh, the root. Oh, yes.
Yeah, the root word, which is the word without
Yes.
suffix.
Yes, I get it. But center? No, I don't know.
Yes, you are correct. Root word,
Is it center?
center. Aha, that's correct. Central, the root word is center. That's why Central Park is a park that is in the center. Yes, of course. If we take the word political, which is an adjective, what's the root word?
I don't know. Political, politic.
Close, close, close. Something interesting about the word politic is that it's always in plural. Politics.
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 Politics, the stress is in the first syllable.
Politics.
Politics. Right? The word national, what's the root word? Any idea, Jesse, Jime, Rafa?
Or national.
National, what's the root word for national?
Central center. Nations.
Close pronunciation?
Nation.
Excellent. Nation. As you can see there, center, politics, and nation are nouns. Do you notice? They're transformed from nouns to adjectives.
Yeah. Nation.
Optional, what's the root word?
It's too easy.
Too easy, no? Chocolate.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. So what is it?
A piece of cake.
It's a piece of cake. A piece of cake.
Who will answer?
Who will tell us the most
Jesse.
easiest one? Jesse, what is the root word for optional?
Option.
It's
Excellent.
easy.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Professional?
Similar, not at the previous one.
So, which one it is?
Profession.
Exactly. Professional. There we go. All of these are nouns. Center, politics, nation, option, profession, they are nouns. Taking the adjective, central, political, national, optional, and professional. So be careful, because when you say, for example, how would you say in Spanish, let's talk about the word politics. How do you say partido político in English? Right? Politico is a description or is a noun? You don't like politics. So how you say it, Jimena? Tell us, guys, tell us. Try to make it. How do you say el partido político? How do you say that in English?
The political squad.
The political squad. Okay. Squad. Why do you say squad?
Yes.
That's totally weird.
Political party.
too.
Exactly, it's party, but you know what? Incorrect. Political is political or politic party, political party. No, yes, you are correct. No, yes, you are correct. Sorry, Corrígeme. Political party. Right?
I prefer Rafa's.
Rafa's translation, political
Yeah.
squad. That's so weird.
I think
Okay.
it's correct. I almost think it's correct.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, who knows? Who needs the other one? You know? Exactly.
Political party, no. It sounds great.
Exactly, because it sounds like a party, but I promise you it's not a party. It's definitely not a party. Now, and this one is interesting. If we can think that different is a root word, but actually it's a construction of a verb together with the suffix ent. We have seen the word, but let's see if you remember.
Different.
What is the root word for different?
Different. No, I don't know. Different.
No? We have seen it in previous videos, in previous
Really?
vocabularies. Yes, of course.
No, I don't remember.
Anyone? What would happen if you remove the ent? Come on, say it. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Probably you're right. Nobody? Come on, guys. Just eliminate the ent. How do you say it?
The ENT differ? Only differ?
Excellent. And the pronunciation is in the first syllable. Differ.
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 Welcome to upper intermediate. To be different from something or somebody. For example, the French differs from English in this respect. Collocation or word chunks, we usually use a connector from. Differ from.
Okay, it was weird.
It was weird?
Yes.
Well, welcome to B2, brother. There is an expression in English that means I beg to differ. Which means used to say politely that you do not agree with something. For example,
I beg to differ. Oh, okay.
I beg to differ. At least she's good at her job. I beg to differ, you know? She's not at her
That's
job.
polite.
It's super polite to say, I disagree with you. I beg to differ. Differ because I have a different opinion from you. So the word is the verb differ. This is a B2. In the case of dependent, which is a little bit easier, what's the root word?
Does anybody wants to participate?
That will be fantastic, That will be It's my dream that people participate.
I can say it, but I prefer
Say
the others. Okay, it's the pen.
Depend. Exactly. Depend.
Okay.
Exactly. Come on, Jesse. That was easy. That was. Why didn't you give us your input? You see, or are you?
I think
Sorry, teacher.
she was sleeping.
Yes. Wake up, Jesse. You can do this.
Yes.
She was sleeping.
Yes, she was sleeping something probably. That's probable. The next one is gonna be strange for most of you also, because again, we think that the word excellent is only the word excellent. There's no construction, but actually, it is a construction of two different parts: the suffix "ent" and the verb
Okay.
"excellent." It's following the same pattern that we followed with differ. No? What is to excel? To excel is to be very good at something. For example, she has always excelled in foreign languages.
Is
So,
it she's always excelled in foreign languages. She has always excelled. Okay, it's a verb. Okay,
It's-
yes, that's weird to see that word.
welcome to B2. As a child, he excelled at music and art. So as a child, she was very good at music and art. That's the way it works. Right? Easy peasy? Yes, I think this is easy. These adjectives come from nouns.
Come on, teacher. Another one.
Another one? What do you mean?
Another example.
Another example, okay. Which actually we need to, because yes, we need to, because we are going to check how the rest sometimes are nouns and sometimes are verbs. For example, attractive comes from the verb
Attract.
attract. Effective comes from the verb
Effective. Effect.
effective is a
Doesn't
description.
effective.
Affect.
Kinda, it's you are changing the word too much. I know it's a noun. It's a noun.
Effect.
Effect.
Okay.
I understood affective.
No, effective.
Yes?
Which
No.
actually, okay, affective. I don't know if it exists. Okay. Affective, connected with emotions and attitudes. Okay. And it's a specialist. The note here, it means that it's technical vocabulary. Affective. But in this case, no, probably it comes from the word affect, which is a verb.
Yes.
To produce a change in something. Yes, it makes sense. Affect, and the other, of course, affect and effective.
Yeah.
Imaginative. What is the root word for imaginative?
Imagine.
Imagine, which is a verb, right? Repetitive comes from the verb
Repeat.
excellent. The pronunciation changes. No, it's not repeat, it's repeat.
Perfect.
Yeah, it is. Etc. Continuous is a description. Comes from the root word
Continue.
continue. Very good. Which is a
Verb.
verb. Excellent. Dangerous comes from the root word
Danger.
danger, which is a
Danger, an adjective.
an adjective transforms into an adjective. There's no necessity.
Danger. I don't know.
Use it in an example.
Danger. Oh, come on. I can
You
think of an
say-
example. I'm trying to use dangerous. Danger.
Exactly. You are gonna use a description. What if you say the danger? No. The white whale is in danger of extinction. In danger of extinction. The connectors can help you know which one is it.
Sure. Is in danger?
In danger. Connector in. The white whale is in danger of extinction.
I don't know. Is it a verb? No.
It is not a verb. In danger, no, because a verb is an action. That doesn't make sense.
Yes. I think that it could be a noun. But
It is a noun. Yes.
Really?
Because every time you use the connector of, you use nouns. For example, the class of English. English is a noun, class is a noun. Or the software of my computer. Software is a noun, computer is a noun.
Okay.
In danger of extinction, danger is a noun, and extinction is a noun.
Okay.
Now you are analyzing
Yes.
both word families.
I think that it's not. Well, it was not easy.
Well, after today, I hope it is.
Yes.
That's right. My people, this is it. Forming adjectives are super useful. The first part that we saw is how to form adjectives in passive form using the past participle of verbs. And now we use the rest of the suffixes. All, and, if, us, full, less, able, and ick. We need to include the past participle. The past participle is another form of transformation. Actually, let's take it as here. Don't forget that past verbs in past participle are another way to transform verbs into adjectives. This is the basis behind passive verbs. This is the class for today. What a wonderful class. It was very, very enlightening to many of you and also to me. I learned a lot today. So let's take it over there, right? I'll see you tomorrow, my people. Have a nice night.
Teacher, thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
See you later, my people. Bye-bye.